Hey guys, welcome back to the Inner Gaze. If you are returning and if you're new, thank you for joining me today. So I know it's been a little bit since I've done a video. I guess it's been after the new year, and I haven't felt compelled to do any sort of content in a bit because I have been personally going through some purging cycles with the eclipse on the January 5th and then the full lunar eclipse that happened on January 21st, the 20th, 21st, and that full moon. There's been a lot of energy, a lot of upgrades, and a lot of things that have just been happening in the physical. And a few things that I've noticed just from these incoming waves and transitions astrologically is that the energies are definitely more profound. They're definitely more intense. And if you have been feeling like, ugh, I'm purging this crap again, like, why am I feeling this exact same patterning coming up? Like, why am I feeling despair over a certain situation? I thought I've kind of tackled the reasoning behind that. I thought I've kind of gone through that. Well, you're basically collapsing more than just this lifetime's worth of that. I mean, it's multiple lifetimes. And in like dream space, just you're going through tons and tons of past lives and timelines and just closing stuff out. Because all that density, all of that programming, all those fears, all those entrapments, those things are sort of being released from your system, from our computing system. And we can't operate to our full potential as like divine awakened multidimensional avatar beings that are like connected to one another if we still have this dense programming and pathways and neural pathways kind of blocking us and blocking our receptors from getting information in this new way. Well, it's not so much a new way. It's just like there's a lot of, it's just like a slow computer, basically. The way we've been operating is just like a 2003 Dell desktop that I had since college that's still sitting on my IKEA furniture as a big old paperweight. I wouldn't really use it for any major computing because what is it even? I don't even know if it's attached to anything high dimensional, you know? It just does its basics. Like if I had to use Word, I could use Word. But anyway, as we're kind of getting upgraded, more purging is coming out because we're still in the process of releasing. So just be okay with it, you know? Give yourself the time to sit in your own shit and kind of just be easy with yourself, you know? Give yourself time to recoup. Even if it's mid-purge. Don't hate yourself for going through the purge. Like, just try to be easy with yourself. And it'll pass. Because once that passes, more energy can come through. Oh, and these 3 black crows actually are sitting right in front of the window, giving us some crow medicine. I'll have to look that up, what that means shamanically, but they're just like staring at me like, hey, there's a video going on. So actually, since the eclipse, there's been a lot energetically that's happened. I want you guys to check out Divinely Guided, her page. She and I brought forward some really powerful light language for those on a specific journey. Please head over to hers if you feel guided to do that. It is very intense light language. It is actually eradicating the forbidden love template. The feelings that you cannot have what you desire, and specifically in romantic partnerships and relationships, the feeling that you can't have it or there's something in the way, and you feel wrong for even wanting that. So it's pretty big, and it did cause a major purge in her. For me, I got a major upgrade the next day, also some purging. So it's pretty major. Check out the video on Divinely Guided's page. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or her in email. So some of the downloads that have been coming through recently are about this collective consciousness field. Let's talk about it as a computer, because I think it's easy for us to understand conceptually, like the computer design and the internet as being this like fourth dimension, or like this extra plane of existence where time and space are kind of like altered, and we can all connect to one another and tap into this intelligence, right? Well, we have that on a spiritual level, on a supernatural plane. So when we think about like our human bodies and our vessels, generally we're made to believe that our ego is our consciousness, and that our ego and our personality and our thoughts are solely coming from within, like our bodies and our vessels. The way I like to think of it is that not only do we have our ego consciousness, which is basically the hard drive in our computer, it's like what's been programmed. And trust me, we've been programmed by so many things. We were programmed by the families we incarnate into, and those patternings of our ancestors were also patterned by society, by the vessel that we're sitting in, if we're black, if we're white, if any culture, any sort of like language that we speak, if we're male, female, gay, bisexual. Like there's so many things in society that have programmed templates and thoughts and feelings and emotions that go along with being in that vessel. So all those things go into the ego, into the hard drive, into the vessel. So those influence and shape our experiences and the way we think through our ego. Beyond that, I like to think that outside of our vessels, some people think of it as different, like it's in the heart. I like to think of it as outside of our vessels. There is the oversoul, and then like this balloon of consciousness that is unity consciousness, that is basically source, creation, all things. It's almost like it's like a cloud with like udders, and each udder might be our particular soul vibration that has had our experiences and our expressions through source energy that come from a culmination of all of our lifetimes and experiences and timelines as one being. So if you think of it like, a cow udder, then like this mass intelligence that is source energy is sort of like this cloud in the middle, and then each soul, which has its unique thumbprint, its unique vibration, its unique set of experiences, is then connected to these vessels. So like we sort of have access to our soul, which is like our higher self, and then above that, which is our like multi-being everything intelligence that also has access to all the souls and stuff. Okay, does that make sense? So if we are tapping into our higher self energy, which comes from the heart, and we're opening up our heart chakras, and we're recognizing that our ego is not the only thing in control. Our ego is simply a product of the programming of the vessel that which we incarnated into and the bloodlines that we incarnated into. But we are actually connected to a higher intelligence and a higher force that is driving this vessel, our soul, right? That is driving this vessel, that is encouraging experiences to help us unwire and deprogram the ego, which we came in to do to begin with. We literally came in to deprogram the ego, to learn. We came to basically beat the computer system that we came into. So if we chose to come in as a specific vessel, we chose to come in with all the experiences that would come in as that vessel, as an opportunity to learn. And through that experience, we expand and ultimately expand the greater soul that is above us and the greater cloud that is the collective consciousness. Basically, we are God expanding ourselves through our infinite experiences. So if you consider ourselves, it's like, all right, in order to expand out of the ego, you have to expand what you are in your mind, And I use the word mind loosely because we use the term mind to talk about almost really the ego. But our mind is so much bigger than just the programming in the vessel. It is connected to a much, much larger intelligence, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Which this is why when we encounter other souls, there's recognition, and that has to do with vibration and pattern and similarities. patternings that we came in together to uproot and deprogram together. That's what soul contracts are there for. And then there's also elements of things that are happening at a much faster pace in our awareness. So let's just pause for a second and take that in. Now we're integrating this knowledge, integrating or remembering this knowledge. And once we start to recognize, okay, I guess part of the awakening process sometimes starts with a synchronicity. Sometimes people see 1111 and that's the wake-up call. Some people meet a divine counterpart and that is a wake-up call. Some people have a near-death experience and that is a wake-up call. There's a lot that could trigger an awakening, but generally the first thing that triggers an awakening is the awareness that, and the knowing and the realization that there is much more to the world than what the eye can see. And that there is something that there's a dimensional layer that is operating and influencing our experience and our reality on the ground that we cannot see, but we can access. And so when we are like seeing synchronicities, looking at the clock at 11:11, looking at the clock at 4:44, talking about balloons, and then seeing a car with a license plate drive by that says balloons, these aren't just like funny, oh, life's just cute. I mean, people look at that as their angels. People look at that as whatever, you know. But what I'm seeing that as is there's something making me look at a certain time or have a thought about balloons as something's coming. There's something that knows. There's something that is connected to all the little sort of pieces of the puzzle that's happening in our reality. And there's telepathy that's happening on a much faster rate. And it's kind of like, you know, before I was woken up, there was always something with me and my mom where like I would think of her and she would call me. Or like she would always have to go to the bathroom whenever I was on the phone with her or something like that, you know? And like we always thought, oh, that's so cute. Your ears are ringing. Like we have terms in the English language for that, you know? But it's more than that. Now I'm realizing that there are certain things that just come to mind that I just know. And I know it's coming from another person. And, you know, sometimes I would think a thought and then about that, oh, I got to go for my phone and text someone, and they'll text me in that moment. And these things are just becoming more like happenstance and part of my reality, which is really, really cool. So telepathy is definitely something that's happening. Also, transference. I don't know if this is an entirely different video, but there are certain things that can manifest in many different forms. Like, I don't know how to get specific about this. Like, transference. Okay. Like, if we're trying to manifest an energy, let's say it's money, and in one way we're like, okay, I really, really, really want to get this promotion, and you're trying to manifest the promotion, but you know abundance is going to come in some form, but it doesn't actually manifest in the form of the promotion. It ends up coming in, like, a whole lot of people all of a sudden really want healing sessions, or you know, this is in my world, let's say, or like I go do a scratch off and I win $10,000. Okay, so like something like that, that's transference. But like on an even more micro level, like you can have this energy that we all share that you desire. Let's say you desire a certain conversation with one person to happen, and then that energy can sort of influence someone else, and they'll come in and say the exact same things to you that you wanted to hear from someone else, but you're having that experience with a different person. But it's not like, it's not that person isn't in control. It's that there's an energy, there's an experience that you desire, but it's going to materialize in one way or another through another being. Because technically these vessels are just like game pieces. We're literally here to interact with each other on the physical plane, and help unwire the egos. So like whatever it is that our higher self needs at the time, it'll orchestrate a scenario where you can have that interaction, and it's going to help you along your path no matter where you are in your journey. But you don't need to be fixated on the who's, the what's, the why's, or the how's it's going to happen, because the energy will manifest in something. So you just have to be open. That's it. Like, as long as you're open to how the journey will materialize for you, or how the information will be physically in front of you, then you're golden. Because then basically you're on your path and everything is for you. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. These downloads are kind of fresh. They're new. I really just wanted to jump on and talk about it. Feeling really excited. Like I said, there has been a lot of energy coming in since January, and there's a lot of new vibration, very high vibration, very potent energy. So especially since this eclipse and this last moon, it is going to be forcing stuff out of you, things that you've observed and have, willingly rid yourself of, stuff to be released out of your system so that the new energy can integrate. And as we integrate more and more and more, we start to access and become aware of our higher forms of consciousness and be able to more consciously tap into the unconscious cloud that we're all part of. So I hope that really helps, and please let me know what you guys think, and I will be doing more videos in light language soon. And if you do happen to get to the end of this video and you are interested in having a session with me, I am actually trying to work with people more on a one-on-one basis. I started doing more quantum healing hypnotherapy sessions. So if you have any questions, please email me at theenergaze144@gmail.com. Thanks. Bye.